Periodic table. Well, Marshall Carroll is a science program leader at Vincent Massey Collegiate with a PhD in quantum chemistry. The periodic table has a special place in his heart. Good morning, Marshall.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thanks. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. So, I know you're kind of a self-described periodic table nerd. You love it. How important is the periodic table to humanity?
Well, it's very important, as Jeremiah had in that little clip, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. That's what we're made of, as well as some sugar and spice. But it's all made from elements, our cosmic stardust. That is everything that we're made of, everything that nature's made of, everything that the universe is made of. And 150 years ago, that Russian chemist Dmitry Mendeleev was able to organize, at the time, around 63 elements according to chemical properties, physical properties. Now, other people around that time were working on this, but he had that insight to organize in such a way to predict elements that hadn't even been created yet, some not for 60 years. So things like technetium were created. So it's really outstanding that he was able to do that. And to have this year as the International Year of the Periodic Table really makes sense. And
with it being the 150 years old, Marshall, it has 118 elements on it. What does it have left to teach us?
Well, that's a very good question. The 118 elements does fill up the seventh row, which for many years, I remember looking at, many years ago when I looked at this, there were just three elements, earth, wind, and fire. That was a joke, but not a very good one.
I got it. No, it was a good one. My mic was off.
Okay. But we have now filled up the seventh row, so what more is there to do? But within the periodic table, there are still secrets to be flushed out from the combinations of the elements, the metals with the non-metals, alloys, and there is research even going on now in terms of getting the eighth row of the periodic table. So there is still lots of usefulness. It's not an irrelevant chart that nobody uses. It's going to keep being used because we need organization in science, and that's its usefulness, and it's great to celebrate it.
How do we interact and experience the elements on the periodic table, like on a daily basis? Where are we going to see this?
Well, just like in the air that we breathe. Someone's talking about nitrogen. Our air is 80% nitrogen, roughly 20% oxygen. We see that. We go into a bar, see a beer advertisement on a sign flashing red. That's our neon and other noble gases and mixes of noble gases. We see in the materials that our roads are made of, or our carbon-based pothole fillers, that we see our interaction. We'll see that today with the sand, salt, beet juice, whatever they're going to pour on the roads to try to get us to work, to school, etc. So our interactions are there every day, every kind of interaction.
How will you celebrate the International Year of the Periodic Table of Chemical Elements? Do you have plans?
Oh, sure. I'm a teacher at Vincent Massey Collegiate. We're a UNESCO school, and it is UNESCO, which is along with the International Union of Pure and Applied Chemists, which have designated this year. So I'm going to ask my students, my grade 12 students, what kind of projects they want to do. I mean, I've done a little bit of this before, comic books, perhaps, cupcakes. That's always good, make cupcakes. What else do we have here? Songs, perhaps. I was thinking periodic table, the musical. We could do...
Who would you play, Marshall, in periodic table, the musical? I'm just looking at the table myself.
I'm getting a little old, so, maybe sulfur, and just mentioned in biblical times.
Well, I'd like to be gold.
Gold would be a good one.
If you guys do this as a musical at Vincent Massey.
Okay, you're it. The cast has been set. You're gold. That's good.
Thanks for talking to us about the history of the table and about what you think about it as it relates to today, Marshall, and for giving us an excuse to maybe get some Earth, Wind, and Fire on later.
Sounds good.
Take care.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Marshall Carroll, the science program leader at Vincent Massey Collegiate, talking about the periodic table this morning. And you might remember Marshall as a contestant on Canada's Smartest Person on CBC. So we have met and spoken with him before. It is 4 minutes to 7.